Welcome to Pennsylvania in Focus. I'm Kristen Smith, Pennsylvania editor for the Center Square, and joining me today is my favorite Pennsylvania reporter, Anthony Hennin. A couple weeks ago, Anthony, you tuned into a 5-hour Environmental Justice Advisory Board committee hearing. They're an advisory board that makes recommendations to the state about how to improve environmental justice, which means that it is environmental policy that makes considerations for underrepresented communities. Usually these are more diverse communities, socioeconomically poor communities. And so it's a fairly new board in Pennsylvania, maybe only a year or two old. But Anthony, you had some trouble covering this, didn't you?
Yeah. The root problem here is when you're looking at, and this is sometimes is a problem across statewide government, of if you don't tune in when it's being broadcast live or you can't make it in person, it's very difficult to actually watch some of these meetings. So with the Environmental Justice Advisory Board following up with the Department of Environmental Protection, they initially denied a request. I asked them for a copy of the meeting to catch up and watch. I did and finally end up getting it, but this was after I had to go through, file a public records request, and basically had to take a longer route over 2 weeks to get a copy. Unfortunately, Pennsylvania is a bit of an outlier here. There's about probably 15 states or so that have some form of environmental justice advisory board or working group, something along these lines. But a lot of these places, public access to recordings of these meetings, it's the default. In New York, Colorado, Vermont, California, North Carolina, Connecticut, and Washington State all post recordings of their advisory board meetings for public viewing, sometimes just within 2 or 3 days. Other states like Colorado add public comments they receive, grant applications, draft recommendations for policies, and related documents to working group issues of environmental justice. Pennsylvania, however, does not do this, and this leaves the public, unless you have the time to tune in on, I believe it's a Tuesday or Thursday for a few hours, you will not be able to really see what's going on beyond some summary meeting minutes that then get posted months after the fact.
This is kind of unusual, too, for state agencies. They're normally pretty forthcoming with this sort of information and don't require you to take off an entire workday just to find out what's going on with them. I mean, come to recent memory, the Medical Marijuana Advisory Board, you can watch a recording of that straightforward within 24 hours of it happening. So what did the DEP give as a response to why they didn't offer you this information, just straight up?
Yeah, I mean, this was sort of a claim of this is department policy. Hearing from DEP's press secretary, Jocelyn Howard, she said, this is consistent with other advisory boards and commissions that advise DEP on their topics of expertise. The Environmental Justice Advisory Board allows for virtual attendance at the meetings and works to schedule the public comment portion of the meeting at times that may be more convenient for those unable to attend. In addition, community members may still provide comment even if they are unable to stay for the entire EJAB meeting. So, this seems to strike a pose that the board is less public-facing and more focused on educating state officials. But at the same time, this is if you have a normal 9-to-5 work day, or if you don't have a flexible schedule, it can be very hard to keep up with what they're doing, either talking about things on the agenda or upcoming projects. If you want to tune in to August, the portion of the meeting where there was a mine reclamation roundtable, that started, I believe, around 4 or 5. It makes it very difficult to really keep up with what's going or get as much detail as you might like if there's a topic here that piques your interest.
It's fascinating that they say it's less public-facing, yet it is funded. The projects are funded primarily by public dollars. So this is something that we'll have to keep following. Transparency is something we care about greatly at the Center Square. So listeners can keep up with this story and more at thecentersquare.com. For Anthony Hennin, this is Kristen Smith. Please subscribe, and thanks for listening.